Hello again. It's New Year in Spooners now. The place looks a little bit different since when I last spoke to you. And as part of our winter programme, there's a lot of work going on all around the railway, and the aim of this video is to bring you up to date on some of that. So I'd said back at Christmas that there would be a fourth part to the videos that we were sharing around. Well, as it's happened, there's more than four, because there's the wonderful news about the NG15, which you can also watch on our social media channels, and I'd encourage you to do so. But for now, this video is all about the work that's going on the railway this winter. And there's a lot of talk around the heritage railway movement. People are very concerned about the economic situation. Will railways thrive and survive, and so on. Absolutely vital, absolutely important. What underpins all that is looking after our railway. What we all want is to see our railway in a good position as it goes on into the future. And what that means is doing the maintenance day to day, year by year, that we need to do now. And I'm really pleased to say that Ffestiniog and Welsh Island, the winter programme, is really motoring forwards. Staff and volunteers all working together in what I have to say are some pretty challenging conditions. We've seen temperatures lower than -5 up in Blaenau Ffestiniog, and even now today, just in mid-January, there's a thick layer of ice to be scraped off cars and locomotive windscreens before we get working for the day. So this video is going to look at some of the progress that we are making, but I hope that you will see lots of great stuff. Things like a huge dry stone wall at Tannabolt station, where the driveway was slipping down the hillside, and with the help of the Ffestiniog Railway Society, we managed to fund a repair to that wall. And what a repair, done in absolutely fine style by Erwin and his team. There's a lot happening, and I have to mention the IT and S&T teams who've been dealing with a lot of cables. A lot of work's going on into pulling out old cables, making sure we remove the right ones and keep the good ones, and rerouting cables so that all this work can go on. And just yesterday they were doing that in hail and icy rain. So a great thank you to them for the efforts that they're putting in. So, as you can see behind me, there's been quite a lot of work going on in Spooners, and just like railways, carriages and locomotives, our buildings, cafes and other facilities need maintenance too. And so this is a light overhaul for Spooners. There's been some rewiring going on. There's also new coffee machines that have just arrived that should allow us to give better quality and faster in delivering the coffee. So lots of things going on right now. And I think what I'll do is I'll hand over to the rest of the team to show you what's been happening, starting with the work that happened before Christmas at Tannagrisha at Stoolin Road Crossing, and then over to Edwina at Boston Lodge, who will tell you more about the NLHF project and where we've got to. I'll just test this coffee.
Right, we're standing on the new foundation for the NLHF Training and Research Centre. And behind me, where you can see the reinforcement, is going to be the section where it joins onto the blacksmiths and where we can park a little quarry hundlet. We're slightly delayed pouring the concrete on this because suddenly the temperature has dropped. So we're going to wait for a better day. Well, you might not believe it, but this whole roadway has been dug up in the last 8 weeks, all the way from the lobby of the machine shop to beyond where I am now in order to put in the new rainwater drainage. And we're going to dig it all up again next to that to put in all the services, because it's been filled in for now so that we can carry on using it. So we've just started work on the old ore store, which has been stripping it out. But of course, it's a good example of the perennial problem we've got is, oh, I wonder what this cable does. So right at the moment, we're just trying to work out which cable is which in this hole. We've been doing that all over the site. We did manage to strip a load out last week and not cut anybody off. We'll see how we get on this week. So this will be the last view of the den. We had a volunteer team helping us strip it out last week ready, and the first thing that's going to happen is the asbestos contractors are coming in to rip out the ceilings, and then sadly it's time to say goodbye. So you can see we're putting lots of new inspection chambers here, which are a little bit bigger than the old ones, and the ducts are a little bit bigger, which should make it much easier in the future to work on our services here. And you can see there are six, well, you may not be able to see, but there are 6 main ducts running all the way down the roadway, but also across the site. There's 4 big ducts going this way, but you can see also we're having to fit in the water main, which is the blue, and new foul services, which is the terracotta colour. So we're trying to match all these services across. Part of what we've done is pull out all the cables at the roadway, so the pipes that went across this area can now be removed. So, you may not believe it, but down here, behind this set of drawers, this shelf here, are 3 brand new big ducts about this size to enable us to bring cables properly underground into this building instead of coming through the window as they do at the moment. The poor window is in desperate need of sorting out, and it'll be a much better route for the cables as well. So one of the things that we found when digging trenches for all these services was a brick floor, stepped brick floor here, which had already been broken through beforehand in one place, but was still in place here. And we're fairly sure it was the floor of the boiler house that drove the belt machinery for the machine shop. And as you look up just above here, you can see the witness mark of where it used to join on. So here you have the temporary toilet facilities, probably the most scenic ones in Snowdonia at the moment. Here we have what is going to be a temporary washing facility. And here we have the temporary den and the temporary locker room and a not temporary member of staff.
Welcome to the site of the NLHF small Loco Shed. We're building this on, well, pretty much the last scrap of remaining ground at Boston Lodge. And this 3-road Loco Shed will be here so we can show off our collection of locos, because on tours, although there's a rich history to the place, you speak to most people and they want to see the steam locos. But it will also be used for occasional prep of steam locos, and I know that the crews are looking forward to using it for that sometimes too. Work so far has been by contractors, and it's largely focused on 2 areas with a large amount of excavation to achieve this in some very hard rock. The 2 areas are the back wall, so this is a large reinforced concrete back wall. This holds back the water. We get a lot of runoff in this location, and it also protects us against any potential falls from the rock face above. The other large excavation has been for the inspection pit for the locos. This is for the right hand of the 3 sidings in the shed, and you can see it here. It's an odd shape, because the siding goes across the left-hand bit there, and then there's some side access which is much safer and easier to work than just going down steps in the 2 foot between the rails. So the large-scale excavations are pretty much over now, and it has been a bit of an epic task. There's over 1,600 tonnes of very hard rock gone off-site to create these facilities. Next steps will be to finish off this concrete work, to provide some track slabs so our volunteers can come in and lay some tracks, and to get everything ready for the shed erectors to turn up in the next 6 weeks or so to put the shell of the shed up. Following that, it will be handed back to us, the railway, and our wonderful volunteers, and we and the volunteers will be kitting out the shed with all the electrics and light and all the things that we require for the shed. So fingers crossed later this year we can bring it into use.
So this is the new token room for Boston Lodge. At the moment this replaces the token room that was in the lobby at Boston Lodge. This machine has actually been moved from the lobby. There's a couple of reasons for that. The first one is that we're now next to Pencob ground frame, so when the trains come back in the evening it's quicker to put the token in so they clear the section sooner. The other reason is that as part of the redevelopment of Boston Lodge, they've dug up all the ducts and cables that went to the old token machine, so we'd have had no token machine here for the best part of 6 months. So before Christmas we moved this in and redirected all the wires into here. And when they finish the works in Boston Lodge, we've got another token machine we're going to put back in the lobby, because that's useful for shunting works at the old Loco Shed and for use of the controlled roadway. So we'll actually end up with 2 token machines in Boston Lodge. It's operated in the same way as the old one. We have a remote operator. When you wind this, it gives you an indication. So 2B shows you the line's clear. There we go, Ymunwch, Portmaddock.
Something that we have become aware of over the winter programme is that those crossing gates at Penryn, you know, the ones that we all look at and we all think it's a pretty iconic Festiniog scene, well, those crossing gates are now pretty much near the end of their life. And what we would like to do is we would like to replace them with replicas made of hardwood that look every bit as good as the ones that are there now. So in the coming months you'll be seeing an appeal from us to help fund the replacement of those crossing gates. It's not in our winter programme at the moment. We need a bit of help with that, and so when the appeal comes, if you can help us, we'd be really grateful. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the update on our winter programme. It's only mid-January. There's lots more to go before we open again at the end of March. And if I could just say once again, a great thank you to all our staff and volunteers who are working in some rather challenging conditions. There'll be more videos along in the next few weeks as we look once again at Boston Lodge Works, the locomotives and what's going on there. So that's all for now, and we look forward to bringing you the next update videos in a couple of weeks' time.